Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we're going to take a look into a new plugin from Roland called Galaxias. Right now it's in standalone mode for those of you who are Roland Cloud users. I know, Roland Cloud users. That's a whole different video topic in general, but let's take a look and see what it does. All right, so when we load, I keep wanting to call it a plugin. It's not a plugin yet, but when we load Galaxias, we're kind of greeted with a lot in here. And to kind of break down what I've noticed is it's kind of like a hub of all of their plugins crammed into one, okay? So we start up on the left-hand side, we can search by types of sounds. We could search by different packs that are installed, and it'll let you know if it's colored, it's installed. If it's faint like this, it's not installed. And the same thing down here. When you look through your presets, if it's highlighted, it's installed. If it's dim, it's not installed, okay? And it looks like there's up to 22,234 presets. And on the right-hand side, if you want to start with an instrument, if there's a certain instrument that's your favorite type, you can start there, okay? So let's go ahead and click on a piano, and now that's gonna narrow down our presets. And it's gonna give you the name, the instrument, so the D50, the JD800, the JV1080, and so forth as you go down. It's also going to give you type, which right now we're in piano. If I click out of that, it'll show you the type right here. It'll also tell you what pack it came from, and you can rate it, give tags, etc. So let's go ahead and load up a piano. I thought I saw some say film piano. So this is going to load up our D50, and that was relatively quick. Now, it doesn't change the layout, but you can see our first layer is built onto the top left. And if we want to zone into just the instrument, if you click instrument, now it's going to bring up the D50 plugin. And if you want a full screen, click in the top right hand corner, and that's gonna full screen. So much reverb on that. But this allows you to have access and to see a little bit better visually what you can control on the plugin itself. So if I want to adjust the volume from the plugin, I can adjust it right here. You still have access as if the plugin was all on its own, okay? And you can go in and do all your different settings that you want. Now, if we go over to the left-hand side and we want to layer and add another instrument on here, we can either do it from our sound section by clicking here and loading up a sound, or since we're on channel 2, if I want, let's just load up, let's do Jupiter. Notice how it's purple. Now notice how it's blue. It's gonna kind of guide you to where it's going. So let's load up the Jupiter 8. No preset in particular, it's just gonna load up the Jupiter 8. Let's go to instrument. And because we're on the Jupiter 8, it's gonna show it here. And we're on a glide, right up here. So we're on pad Jupiter glide. So let's hear these two together. That went exactly the way I thought I was going to. But because the D50 is our primary sound and the Jupiter 8 which is probably going to be our secondary. Let's go ahead and pull it down in the mix. And now let's play it. Now I know it doesn't sound amazing because obviously you're going to want to get very particular when it comes to your layering style and how you want to blend it in certain instruments. So say I'm on the second channel, it's going to show me now all the sounds from the Jupiter 8. It's already kind of filtered it out. But let's say I'm on the Jupiter 8 and let's do bells. Let's try that. Let's go into our mix. And kind of adjust it right there. Okay, so we have our Jupiter 8 on our second track, and same thing, you can adjust the settings into the plugin itself here, or if you want to swap it out for a different instrument, let's say we want the JV instead of the Jupiter 8, let's just click on that. Are you sure you want to replace current instrument? Yes. All right, so now instead of having the Jupiter 8, we have the JV 1080. And of course, let's go to our sound, because we didn't pick anything. So now we have the JV 1080 loaded onto our second channel. And same thing, you can go through the presets like you were sitting in front of it. Or you can search specifically via sounds on the instrument itself. Let's go. Let's hear the mix. And now if you want to just hear the sound alone, you can solo it, or you can mute as you start to build your layers. Let's go back over to sounds and let's go to our third track and let's bring back in the Jupiter 8. Let's go synth pluck. Go back to our mix, unsolo. You get the idea, and you can go up to 4 and you can start blending all of the different plugins into your mix. Okay, go to the top and click on to initial scene. This is going to give you different scenes that they kind of created on their own. And the way to think about this is you can put together these instruments, save the scene basically as a user preset however you want. So for this demonstration, we're just going to use the 3 channels and we're going to go back over to our mix. And the other thing that you could do into your mix, you have effects channels and you can add effects onto your instruments. So you can add effects directly onto the instrument itself. So let's start here and let's just, why not? Let's add the bit crusher. So you can add it directly onto the instrument. Let's remove the effect. So the other thing it has is in the sequence, you can add an arpeggiator. And in order to turn it on, you go down here to sequence, click sequence, and it's going to show you the type of arpeggiator. It's a pretty basic up, down. If you want to do hold, you can toggle hold. You can change the speed. Turn that off. Octaves, duration, swing, fill. I mean, nothing crazy. It's pretty standard. Nothing too bad. Now let's go back over to our layers, because this section right here is pretty much a simplified version of what's happening in the mix channel when you're on your layer settings. So if I'm on D50, let's go ahead and turn the sequencer off. Volume. You can pan right there, your filter. You adjust your sends. You can toggle on and off your FX. So another little side menu button that's kind of a small version of your mix. Your main volume's up here at the top left. Go into your mix. It's just adjusting your main slider up top. You can adjust your tempo up here, but this is probably going to be more fitting to the adjustment for your sequence. And then down here at the bottom, it gives you a little toggle so you can see what's being triggered. A little small icon. And if you want to edit, this is pretty much like a zones feature where you can start to split up each layer to have different part sections onto your keyboard. So let's go ahead and solo this section, and it's going to show you what it's playing. And if you want to lower the octave just in this group, you can. So if you want to adjust your range on your bottom end, you click learn. I'm going to hit here, and then for the top end, learn. And now it's going to group this section just here. Okay, and you can do this for each section, so you can build and or blend different zones onto your keyboard. And then that way, you know, every scene that you create kind of has its own sense and build to it. And the only way that I can really, there's a couple ways that I can kind of see this function. And if you're familiar with the Phantom's very similar when you're building scenes inside of it, where you have multiple channels, as they call zones, which you have multiple channels that you can add instruments to, and then you can blend and you can section them off. This is just set up like in a VST version with these classic plugins in Xenology. So another thing that you could do is you can link these knobs to your instruments, okay? Now, if you notice, they're going to give you color coordination, and this is going to be in correspondence to the layer channel. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to assign it to the layer channel, but it's just there to kind of give you reference. So right now, let's just switch down to the blue. Let's right click, let's go MIDI learn, and I'm going to move this fader. Took a little minute to register, but now it registers it, okay? And because I'm trying to keep an eye here, we're gonna link this and adjust this fader. Then I'm gonna click unlink, give it a minute to register. Now it registers this fader on my MIDI controller onto the Jupiter 8. So if I play, it adjusts it just like I was controlling the Jupiter 8 without having to sit here and manually click on everything with a mouse. Now, the colors are supposed to keep you organized. So if you want, you can stay blue all on this channel. However, let's say I want to use the same knob, hypothetically, to move something else. Because a lot of these keyboards have multiple knobs and effects. In theory, you can link this to, let's say, here. Let's wiggle it. And now it's moving multiple knobs onto the Jupiter 8. Just in case you run out of knobs and faders and effects, that's also something that you could do. Let's say in theory, let's change this, the D50 out for the JD800. Yep. So we're on the layer, we added it, it's orange, so it's switching over. Now we're on this, now we're on the JD800. So let's say I want to link this up, unlink. So now I'm controlling multiple knobs on the JD800 and one knob on the Jupiter 8. That's just something that you have to know. And if you don't want to control two instruments with one fader, you can always delete it. It's not controlling the JD800 anymore. It's controlling the Jupiter 8. So you can design this layout however you guys want. Okay? All right, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know what you guys think. Out of all the features that are built into Galaxias, if you condense it down, what do you think? Useful? Not useful? In my opinion, what it kind of reminds me of is a digital version of how Roland sets up their Phantom with his own channels, meets Analog Lab, or even like a complete control. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are down below. If it turns into a plugin, is it something that you're interested in? We can talk about Roland's subscription model a little bit later, but let me know what you think down below. Oh, and if you like this content, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on that notification bell to stay up to date on all the latest episodes. And if you're interested in other channels, on my homepage, got them featured down below, featured channels, and check out the content on either one of these videos. We'll see you on the next one.